let's take a look at the hero bans of this past tournament for Overwatch. This was the first time hero bans have ever been done on a tournament of this scale, of this professional level. It has a lot at risk. It was very well thought out and very well discussed by the community. And ultimately, the community sentiment is, this was awesome. It was really cool to see, and the specific nuance, just to remind you, if you weren't paying attention or not quite sure how it worked, we got the format for you. So hero bans, each team got to ban one hero. Loser generally picked, and I think the lower seed started off by picking, and they got to pick if they got first ban or second ban after they pick map. With that, when they pick a hero, they can only pick a hero once. So if you pick Lucio, you cannot pick Lucio again for the entire rest of the match, but your team could. If you pick Lucio, you could also not pick, the other team cannot pick another player in another character in the support role. So again, the two caveats: the ban applies to both teams, and the team who picks it cannot pick that hero again. The other team cannot pick another hero in that same role. Right? Pretty straightforward.
Yeah. So you'll never see DPS, healer. It's just going to be one of each role, regardless of whatever the teams pick.
Exactly. And it means you have to be more surgical with dismantling comps or teams or players. If you're going to ban that Lucio one trick, you can only do it one time, right? And that was one of the speculations we had for people like Funny Astro, who's like the Lucio player. How many times would they ban him, or would they look towards other things and doing that? We're going to have a full breakdown of ban rates next week and a story, so stick around for that. But just kind of overviewing what happened at the tournament, that was the system. And here's the general picks, Baptiste, Brig, Lucio, Wrecking Ball, Echo, Malga, Sigma, Baptiste. We're seeing a lot of different teams, and like here we had Ents and Fnatic. So like we're talking about a brawl heavy team, and I'm not super familiar what Fnatic likes to run, but generally speaking, it seemed that Fnatic wanted to stop a poke comp, Malga comp, like I guess against a Ramattra, like a Ramattra counter. They're trying to stop like an Echo Tracer dive kind of thing. And then Ents is looking at like the faster stuff, Lucio, Wrecking Ball, maybe Brig for an Ana comp, maybe a Baptiste. So you start seeing them pick for teams, they start seeing them pick for maps, and maybe a better way to look at it. What's that?
No, go back to that real quick.
Okay. What do you see, Nick?
I see Fnatic wasting a ban with Baptiste. Just in general, like if they banned it first, like if Ents banned that first, by the way, they don't care about playing it. Like they can play it, but they were like, I don't give a shit. It's first game. Like ban this thing out.
I think that one might be like a throwaway. Yeah, you're right. I think it might be a throwaway, but it might be a throwaway on a map that they don't really play Baptiste on. That's Lijiang. Maybe you play it on server or control room, the indoor one where Rhine is really good, and that's a Rhine team. Literally, Rhine's shield is the size of the door, so if you control point, you're blocking the whole choke point, really. So maybe they threw Baptiste in there to get it out of the way so they could play it later on, but then, in Coliseo, Fnatic bans Baptiste again. So I guess they were expecting Baptiste to be a big point of it. And that's like the interesting part of it. What is a throwaway pick on purpose just to get it out of the way? So it's something to do right now. What's a deception pick? What's a preventative pick, stopping your other team from playing? And what's a optimization pick for you to make sure that you get to play later on, or etc. And that was the depth and dimension that we did see with these picks. And I was going to move us into Crazy Raccoon and Toronto Ultra before we move on to another topic, because I think this might be more where teams and players got a better feel of it. And you're talking about the two teams that performed the best, statistically at the very least, really like show what they were intending to do and what they were doing. So here we have is Raccoons banning Kiriko, Lucio, Alari. So 3 healers off the bat. basically limiting Toronto's support line. So they saw them. There's a good chance they saw them as the initial threat, as the composition push, and that they wanted to just like dismantle them through their support line, either through the bans or be able to like dive them, because they ran a lot of dives. Beyond that, they banned Malga, Lifeweaver. So like Lifeweaver one feels like a throwaway. Like we're saying, that's last map. That feels like, yeah, we don't even care. We're going to take it no matter what.
Yeah, like, I mean, and so, like, I noticed there's only, like, a few teams that end up banning, like, the same champions or same characters in their matches. And, like, I don't know, anytime that... I really do feel this, like, and this is the same thing, like, in other games, but, like, if you're banned at the support, like, supports are great, but, like, if you're first ban, you come at this, you're like, support. And people are like, no, we're going to ban a tank or a DPS. Like, I mean, they have to ban a tank or a DPS, but, like, it's pretty disrespectful. Like, come out and be like, I don't even think your DPS got it, bro. Like, it's just...
Right, and that's the thing. I wish there was more of a breakdown of like the pick order, because loser picks map, and then loser gets to choose who gets the ban first. And generally speaking, I would assume you would take the ban first, but I could see there's some strategy in taking the ban second. So I would like to see a bit more breakdown as far as that information goes. But you're right, like off the bat, it's a good chance that like Crazy Raccoons actually took the first ban pick, because it was just neutral and, this and that. Or if Toronto took that first pick, them banning Wrecking Ball was just maybe limiting the looks they would expect to see on that map. I know my boy Yeedle, he's always playing. He used to always play Wrecking Ball. I think he's doing 50 hours of Tracer right now. But he'd always say on Wrecking Ball, you don't lose on Lijiang. We always win on Lijiang. So maybe that was the thought process for Toronto. You counter Wrecking Ball because Wrecking Ball wins on Lijiang. It could have also been to like just limit the scope of what they're expected to see. They're expecting to see the Winston. They're expecting to see the Doom on that first map, to kind of just limit what they're what they're going to play against. Beyond that, they're going after the APAC Pacific region dive. Winston, Lucio, Diva, and then the kind of random Pharah. But we know APAC likes to play Pharah. We know Pharah's been kind of nuts. But at high levels, I'm sure you could just have a hit scan pop off and keep them in check for sure. But this was what made the depth interesting. Oh, and the big thing I didn't really get to say before, it was something I learned after the fact. They only had 90 seconds to make the map and the ban picks overall between both teams, I believe. So it moved quick.
So that's super short. Do they have their coach on stage, or is it just the players?
Yes. They had their coach on stage, and the coach was not able to communicate with them during matches, but in between matches they could.
Yeah. All right. I mean that's fine. But like, so one thing pretty specific, like everybody should realize, like especially Toronto Ultra, right? Like Crazy Raccoons is not like playing against Kiriko. I'm not even joking. Like they banned it in all three.
Yeah.
Like it was the first ban on the first one, first ban on the last one. It was the third ban on the second one. Like there's a reason why, but they probably find Kiriko to be a little bit, a little bit helpful against them in the comp that they're trying to play against, or they're trying to play. Sorry.
Probably just a little too slippery and a little defensive with that Suzu. And they banned it on Ilios, Suravasa, and then the last one, Lijiang. Ilios and Lijiang were both first picks, first ones right out the gate as well. So like that might have been a informed strategy just to start with, like a coach strategy, like let's start strong, let's get the map win, let's pull this one out. They save Kiriko against Team Falcons, which is a rival of theirs from the APAC region. They save it for the third match on Suravasa, which is a flashpoint. Yes, it's a flashpoint. So like that one makes a little less sense to me. Maybe that was a like a reaction pick, Or I guess, I don't know. They did lose the second map of Runasapi, and this was a pick, so maybe it was their first pick. So maybe this was like, okay, let's throw this out and make a strong foot because it's 1-1. Let's like just take this match control back.
Yeah, without a full deep dive, like, you know, there are multiple different reasons. Like Kiriko could be, like, in their opinion, could be one of the stronger just healers in general, right? Like supports in general, not healers, but like supports. Where like they're always thinking about like when they have to ban it and stuff like that. But that, you know, that's just a quick notice on like without doing a deep dive.
Right. And I'm not sure how much of a total deep dive we're going to be able to do because there is some information that's missing. And if you do know where to find it, I'd love to know pick order, ban order for this stuff, what ended up getting decided during the matches. Because even watching the VODs back, it's hard to say, hard to tell. Plus, that's a lot of time to commit again to that. But either way, it made the competition really interesting. Stick around to check out our further depth and statistics. We're going to try to come with that next week, just so we get like a ban percentage, see how that played out, and see if we can maybe suss out some more analysis and information from that. I'd love to see this system in future tournaments. I'd love to see them implement it in Stage 3 for Overwatch Championship Series.
Yeah, this one is, you know, this pick and ban phase for Overwatch, like, as you just said before, like, needs to be extended a little bit, but this one fits Overwatch and, like, what they're, like, the style of Overwatch with, you know, this is chess, not checkers, everybody. And, like, there's just, like, always trying to do a, like, a very chessy style pick bans, you know, team comps, or like it's very, very chess oriented, rock, paper, scissors oriented. I would love to see some like weird bans where like you ban for what you switch to. You know what I mean? Like, oh, they think we're going to play this and we ban that. And then like, boom, they're just doing like, they're doing something else on this one map or something like that, you know?
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see how this evolves, like you're saying, what choices happen. I think this was a good first foot forward. I was personally in the camp of like not really leaning towards pick ban systems because a lot of games that introduce pick ban systems, the game becomes more about picking and banning, and rather than being one tool in the toolbox for stuff, one aspect. And of course, you know, that comes with good design and good balance and overall health of the game over a long period of time, which waxes and wanes, of course, but I ended up enjoying this one and I'd like to see it happen more, maybe refined a little bit, but I thought that was beautifully done. Any final thoughts on the Overwatch stuff before we move into what to expect in the next week of EWC?
No, I'm like excited for the future of it, and I think the only thing that I really have to end with it would be I wish they would have started off with less restrictions on the way that the way the bans work. And I hope, because it'll be hard to evolve on less restrictions going forward, where like you can only have a support and a tank get banned, or a DPS and a support get banned, blah blah blah, that sort of thing. But you know, it's right in the right direction.
I see where you're coming from on that, and like just to kind of counterpoint you really quick, I like that phrasing of it because it essentially created two picks with only one pick, like not two picks, but like it kind of was like a defensive part of the pick as well. You can't pick another support, you know, if I pick support, something like that, and like that. It felt simple but effective and like not overly complicated. So maybe not an evolution, maybe a total adaptation or a change to that. But that, like, I think we both agree this was a good first step in pick bans for Overwatch. And it'd be cool to see if it's implied in what happens over the, you know, the lifetime of the game, the upcoming tournaments, especially if it's going to take, you know, a lot of the same system and styles as League has or Dota has.
Oh, don't do that. Pick and ban phase. Like it's what they're trying to cut down over there. We got 5 bans per side. Like our coach is on stage. There's time in between.
Yeah. Like talking about chess matches.
Like, yeah. No. Like it's a little much over on that side, but you know, keeping this under like a 5-minute thing for the whole entire thing. Like I think 1.5 minutes is a little bit short, but you know, let it evolve, let it breathe. We'll see how people feel. Mostly like the pros. I want the pros to walk away from this thing and then basically give us their opinion because, you know, who the fuck am I?
And that 90 seconds gives a more of a fighting game feel. It's something we're very familiar with, like the bans, the map bans and the map picks for fighting games in between rounds on stage like that. And they're able to do it quickly because it's just directly them. But, you know, that I got that feeling from that 90-second limit, and I kind of welcome it. But, you know, speaking of fighting games, we do need to move on to our next topic, and we're going to